everybody. How am I coming in? It's been a while since I did the stream. Very, very quiet. All right. How about that? Is that a little bit better? Okay, welcome. Really cool that people actually came to see the things that I've been working on all this time. Okay, well. So, oh, I'm echoing? Yeah, I was just doing it to test the volume. It should be off now. The echo. Anyways, for those of you that don't know, if you don't, I'm Marp. I am one of the developers historically of Salem, a free-to-play MMO permadeath computer game. And what I want to do is talk about the changes that are going to be coming in soon to a new server. It'll be the first new server that we've had, including expeditions, in several years. So, yeah, kind of hype. The first thing I wanted to show you guys is the long-time promise of horses. Obviously, we've been trying to add horses since, I don't know, ever. They've gone through several changes in design over the years, but this is the one we finally landed on, and I think it was JC's attempt to put them into the game, but they gave him a lot of problems. And so it took me the better part of this period of basically dev downtime. It's kind of seemed like since I think April when I've been working on stuff, but they work. So we have them working basically like livestock. So they breed, they eat, they poop, they can be killed, they have drops, and of course they can be ridden. So you'll recognize a lot of the similar flower menu options. You can right click or left click pedigree. This is a mare. It hasn't been claimed or named or anything, but here you can see their stats. So just like with livestock, you've got tranquility, immunity, metabolism, size, productivity, and longevity. And so what I've done is have productivity define the speed of the horse. So if you giddy up, which stops it from moving, it'll go faster based on how high the level of productivity is. And because I'm a developer, I don't need gates. We're gonna just take it out for a spin. My plan is to have a attack that can dismount a player, but there's going to be an obvious advantage to having a horse. So regardless of whether you're an attacker or defender, so the ability to ride a horse is going to be unlocked fairly low. You won't be able to ride onto claims that you don't have permissions. You will be able to, and this is going to be like more of an advanced skill, but you'll be able to craft a horse whistle, and I'll show you how that works. That will allow you to claim a horse, basically, and then you can summon and dismiss the horse using the whistle from anywhere outside in the map. So we'll just do that right now. And I have like the cooldown timers and things kind of silly, but here's a horse whistle. I just happen to have handy. And so it's super easy to use, but it's going to be probably a rare mat recipe. So you just right click on the horse and then you train the horse, and it'll have like, a little animation and a sound and everything. Right now it's just instant. And So now the horse is functionally trained. You couldn't use another whistle. You can't use the same whistle anymore to train other horses, and the horse can't be trained by anybody else. And so then if you right click the horse whistle, and maybe I'll create a different icon overlay to show that the whistle has been attuned. But let's say I just zip zap out into look at all this spoilers you guys are seeing. Zip zap out into the wilderness and use the horse whistle. I can use it to summon my steed. And it makes a little whistle and the horse comes running. And so this can be done from, like I said, anywhere in the map, as far away as you want to be from your horse, or from basically the last place where it was dismissed to. If it's the first time it was summoned, it's where it was attuned. And you can tell it to stay, and it will stay for, I think I have it staying up to 6 hours, just in case you wanted to, like, you know, make it chill while you go wander over to raid a claim or loot a base or something. The only caveat to the summoning system, besides a cooldown timer, is that you need to be in an open space. So you can't have too many trees, you can't have too many walls, or the horse isn't gonna hear you. Anyways, you can get back on it, ride it around, so on and so forth. Again, the speed of the horse is based on its productivity, so this horse in particular has a 30 productivity. So in theory, it could go, I think, 20% faster, 30% faster, if it had max, and you can get that by breeding. The bikini poolside part of the stream happens at the end of the stream, right before I announce when the new server will be launched, so stick around for that. Anyways, and then you can dismiss the horse, and the same rules apply. You right click and you dismiss the steed, and then it wanders off into the wilderness. Again, it needs space. You can't make it wander away if there's a lot of buildings around or whatever. And then it vanishes, and upon vanishing, it actually functionally teleported itself right here, back to where it was summoned from. So that way you guys can have access to your horses while you're out in the world, which is, I guess, that's the point of horses. And you don't need to have a huge stock of horses, because the chances that they're going to get killed are, I don't know, the chances that you would get killed. But yeah, people can catch you on your horse. People can try to knock you off your horse. People can try to take your horse. But as long as you have it, attuned, they can't re-attune it. They can kill it, but you won't be at risk of them nabbing it as long as you've attuned it with one of these horse whistles. So that is horses in a nutshell. I don't see any questions about horses. Do you guys have questions about horses in particular that I haven't covered in my flood of stream of consciousness chat? Oh yes, so horse breeding. Horses don't breed as much as all of the rest of the animals. They have a chance to breed one foal at a time. So I can increase, in horses in particular, the rate that they change their variables, but I didn't want you to be flooded with horses, basically. The feeding works exactly like it works with other livestock, where you have a food trough and you fill it up. 500 food is the max, and as long as there is food in the food trough, they will eat. But yeah, you just want to make sure that there's food inside of the trough wherever you leave them, and they could wander away if you don't have them gated. This in particular is, I'm sure you guys have noticed, this is a hedge, or a hedge bush. This is a new aesthetic change to makeshift fences. where you can find hedge bush seeds and you can plant them. I'm not going to tell you how, though. I'm not going to tell you where you find that, because that's something you're going to have to figure out. Salem is about secrets. It's about untold mysteries. So I guess I can talk to you more about, as long as we're on the vein of animals, we can show you the raccoons that I teasered not too long ago. Got a picture on the Discord. Several people have asked for the ability to befriend raccoons. I wouldn't be against it, but for now they are just rabid little trash pandas. They also get each other going, like beavers. So if they're in combat with you and they start their little rolling nonsense, they will incite a riot of other raccoons. Yep, like that. So that one just got triggered, and now they're all triggered, and they're attacking the horses, and I'll let the horses take care of that. They do stun lock when they hit you with that roll. Horse speed is, I think, at its median, so about like 20, 30. I think at 30 it is the same as crickets. Which is actually an excellent point. I'm going to disable crickets. With the result of this, I'm going to try to make horses plentifully accessible. But yeah, crickets are going to be a thing of the past. And I'm still on the fence on this. I think that I'm going to create wild horses as it's their own creature, and they will simply have a chance. They can't be attuned, so you won't be able to summon them. You're going to have to breed domesticated horses for that, and then they have a chance to like kick you off like crickets used to before I disabled that, to encourage you to domesticate your horses. But that's still like on the table. Still haven't decided. Chief Pupukaka was left on Plymouth, I believe. What about giant crickets as a darkness monster? I guess I would be okay with that. I'd have to create an attack for them, or you just like find them out there and then they despawn naturally. I guess I wouldn't be. Yeah, horses would be easier and better. So if you really want giant crickets that badly, you could probably have them that way. So let's see. John Carver is busy. He's just too busy. He's left us in charge as a community, and I've just taken the helm. And together we're all the developers. So that's how socialism with video games works. We all own this. We are all Salem. So, that was raccoons. I guess I could show you another one. I teased this one as well. We have skunks now. Skunks have a unique ability that was kind of fun to bring about. Most of you who played know that if you gotta cook most mushrooms in the game, otherwise you get poisoned. And so I basically took that concept with skunks, the idea that maybe they could make you sick. And so if you happen to get sprayed by a skunk and you're a player, it will give you a debuff. And that debuff will decrease your humors temporarily. It's a different kind of poison. The rate is different, but pretty damning. especially if they were to catch you out and about. So I'm gonna try to actually let him hit me this time. There we go. So I've got an hour now on my debuff, and it decreased my max humors. It looks like, wow. So that decreased me, I think, a total of 30% after the 2 hits. Maybe way more than that. I think I got double hit that second time. But anyways, yeah, so your max is going to decrease temporarily while you work off the debuff. Pisces EG makes an excellent question. Can we do a oh, okay. Can we do a poison dart? That is a good question. I wasn't planning on there being a... Okay, calm down. I wasn't planning on doing a poison dart, but I was thinking about a bomb. I was thinking about doing it to make a PvP related item that allows you to use the skunk debuff or a version of it to your own ends, so that if you catch somebody out in the wilderness, some ancient, some super strong character, you can just throw a bomb at him and level out the playing field. So that is more or less skunks, and as Loosewing mentioned, there's so much poop. As Loosewing mentioned, there are going to be capes and hat variants for all these varmint. There's another varmint, it's not yet ready. We're going to leave that one as a surprise. But I think I wouldn't mind showing you this. So the poultry food system kind of sucked. For those of you who are unfamiliar, it was like turkeys, domesticated turkeys, wild turkeys, eggs technically, and then like Argo pelters. And Argo pelters aren't really even with that system. It was like a weird discrepancy, and so I basically just took Argo pelters out of the mix, and I redid all of the recipes, and I made instead. I made you able to get meat from crows. So now you could try to catch up with them. They're still going to try to fly away from you, and this isn't the last time I'm going to try to make a bird thing in the game, but... Oh, it didn't even play us its death animation. It just died. I think that might have been the first time I saw it, so it just fast-forwarded it. But you can kill these crows now, so that's fun. There's the death animation. So you can then butcher or pluck. To butcher the crow is to get all of the individual pieces that are usually used for recipes. To pluck the crow creates the raw bird thing that we're, the plucked bird that we're used to seeing. And what you can do with this is then a precursor to a heal food, basically, like a pie. You can't write in Marp stream? What? Okay, hang on real quick. Seems like there's a problem in the Discord. If only someone else could do this for me. Oh, huh. Got it. Okay, try it now. Cool. Sorry about that. Anyways, and we have one more bird as well, a brand new bird that is neither crow nor turkey that is in the game. And I'm going to leave that one as a secret too. Because that's what we do. And it has a drop res. Look at that. Game isn't even crashed. Good job. All right, let me check my list. A list of things that I have to talk to you guys about. Covered it. It's a lot of the new creatures. And I guess now I can bring up maybe having a chat about... Let's have a chat about the new server and the stuff that we'll be doing. Just get my notes ready. Alright, so... Oh, where's my little pen? There it is. Nope. It's gone. Well, this is what happens. This is what happens when you prepare. It all goes to hell. So, New Haven is the name that we're really leaning hard towards for the new server. And it's going to be functionally just the way that new servers used to be back in the day, where it was just an extra server. So it's not necessarily an expedition. It's not necessarily a something that's inherently temporary. It's not going to be permanent. I'm not going to give you the guarantee that it's going to last forever, because I don't think that it should. I don't think that the game is in a position to have this level of sustainability that a permanent server would require. But it would last as long as you guys are willing to play it. So that's kind of the intention. But no necessary win condition, no necessary rewards like expeditions. Just, a new server. Providence, in the meantime, the plan is to stay the same. There's no intention to disable Providence at this point, or to make it go away. It's just gonna not receive updates. So I'll probably go back in there after the new server launch, and I'll go back over to Providence. I'll fix some stuff, because there's a few things that are a little bit broken, that need some attention, and so that's probably going to be the extent of how much gets done. And then I'll focus on the new server, and there's going to be more content after launch for that, like more critters, a couple more systems that I'm just thinking of recently that I just won't make it in time for the release. And then we'll see how things play out, because there are going to be a lot of changes to the new server. I haven't been sitting on my hands this whole time. We, and by we I mean me and testers, have made some real drastic changes to core gameplay systems. And I can talk about a couple of those on the stream, just to give you guys a heads up of what we're looking at. We have made some big strides, I believe, in changing raiding and certain elements of PvP to make it more engaging from a raider perspective, but less destructive to a victim to a victim's position. So, for example, I'm going to get rid of trial by combat. I don't think trial by combat was ever good. It was a neat idea, but in practice it was stupid, because the idea that you'd be able to properly defend against something like that, even if you were a 5,000 to all ancient, it's just not feasible. The game already demands a lot out of you to successfully raid, and to just be summoned online at a whim to be in like some kind of death match, death block with another person who wants revenge it's a way of losing the character. So why not just lose the character? The new server is going to be located the same place the old server is going to be located. Anyways, so we've done a lot of little tweaks, increasing the cost of black bile, but we've also of black bile when you're committing things like vandalism to try to discourage base wiping. A lot of other little hedges there, just to make it more difficult to wipe the base of your enemy. It is not the goal, I think, from a developer perspective, for you to easily be able to stop someone else from playing. It doesn't make sense from a gameplay standard, and so I'm trying to discourage that. But at the same time, I don't want defenders to be invincible behind walls. So I'm looking at mortars no longer deal damage to trials by fire. And the way that a trial by fire works has been pretty much like deeply overhauled. The size of a trial by fire has increased in both directions, so it can no longer just be situated in an invincible little pocket. It increased. The cost has been increased, and the cost increases the longer it's up. So the infinite trial by fires that simply are up to mess with people, it's probably going to be a thing of the past. I don't see them lasting longer than a week, is my rough estimate, without costing way more than they could ever pay off. So you more or less raiders would get a week to try to successfully raid, and in the event that they fail, the defender has the opportunity to then, rebuild, restructure, probably be left alone if you were successful in stealing the best of their loot. And yeah, that's the rough idea. Can we keep the new server up? I mean, the new server isn't going to necessarily go anywhere. There's no timeline. That's not like it's a year and done. It's basically going to be as long as people keep playing it. So as long as there's a healthy population, and by healthy I mean economically healthy in the game, like there's commerce happening, and people are fighting darkness monsters, and people are building their base, and there's like more than just like 2 guys playing on the server. I'm not gonna just tear it down. Yes. Mad. Oh yeah. No, I think I can. I don't know if I can say that on Twitch. But somebody is asking the wry implication of naming the server New Haven, and I didn't realize it. I'll admit that I didn't connect the dots. I was looking up early colonial names, and I thought, oh, New Haven, it has new in it. That's fun. And then I told it to like 4 people, and it was like the 3rd person was like, "This is a jab, right? This is a jab at at Haven." And I was like, "Oh God, no!" And so I immediately went and asked permission, and I got the green light. So so it's not a copyright infringement. It was an accident. I believe it's New Haven, Connecticut was one of the first New Havens. Yes. If you continue to sail to the east on the new server, or Providence, it basically launches a Haven client, and you get to play there instead. Okay, so let me just see here if there's anything else relevant. I've removed blow darts and tubes, and I've removed mother bats for the time being. They weren't working as planned. They're not necessarily good. I like the idea of a ranged snare, but darts were OP. Darts were OP from a newer player perspective. They gave advanced players way too much of an advantage. And I think that there should be an advantage to them, but it was a really steep curve. And the idea of the poisoning crime, it was like debasement of money. You would just do it somewhere where nobody could find your sense, and it was stupid. Again, it was just not an entirely fleshed out or well considered mechanic. So I want to bring them back. I just don't want them brought back at the beginning, and I don't think that their current way that they're being used is correct. Oh yeah, things you can shoot out of a mortar. I've reduced that, so you can't just shoot trash at people. So raiders actually have a chance to successfully raid. There is now a hit. So when a tower when a brazier or a torch post shoots at an aggressor, for every critical, it has a chance. I think it's actually not a chance. I think it's actually a 100% chance to deal itself 0 to 5% damage. So the idea here being that the cost of defense is increased. It's not just about filling your braziers anymore through a raid. You now actually have to actively repair, or they will get in. And I think that the cost of ammunition alone was too cheap. The initial cost of being a passive defender was way too slanted towards the defender. So in the testing that we performed, it is completely reasonable to breach a 100% efficiency barrier, and that means like 100% efficiency coverage of torch posts and braziers in like 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours. And that is always what was supposed to happen. Rough ETA on the new server. No, that doesn't come to the end. I'm sorry. You got to stick around for that, or catch the replay when this gets uploaded to YouTube later. That's at the end, man. Do you still die from insanity and freeze to death? You can freeze to death, but we took out it doesn't happen just naturally anymore. So you don't just log in and it's winter and you die or you freeze. I removed that, and now if you go onto the snow biome in the mountains, you have to really bundle up or you could die from the same mechanic. But it's no longer a thing that you just have to worry about logging in to play. Yeah, I can try to make a trial by fire when we do some gameplay. Will there be changes to the gluttony system? Yes, there will be changes to the gluttony system. There already are changes to the gluttony system. I might touch on that later, depending on how I feel, because it's a big one. I know that you guys, I know people like gluttony for what it is, and I know people really, really hate it, and it's chased away a lot of people from the game. So I don't know really how to deliver how gluttony works, but I might mention that in a bit. Is managing sanity. Okay, so I don't like the sanity system, and I'm looking at removing it, but I'm not removing it yet. I think it can be done better, and I think it is the kind of thing that if it was simpler, I would just turn it off. But it isn't simpler, and it also doesn't answer the issue that insanity was created in part to prevent idling. And idle play of criminals just sitting there. And I think that, again, this was a half-baked idea. It was a half answer, because it's too easy to get around with tobacco and plugins and botting. And so I think in that regard, the argument could be made that insanity it doesn't serve any purpose. But I do still think that it prevents that kind of play in more than 50% of the scenario. So with all that said, I don't like insanity either, but it wasn't on my must-do list, so I will probably remove it or change it. TBD. Yeah, it should be a double-edged sword. There should be elements of insanity, definitely, that are beneficial, that you want to chase a worse sanity, and we'll probably get rid of, like, licking boards. We'll probably have to get rid of the easy ways of doing it and go for more challenging ways. But there should be some benefits that you can get. Like, if you are a certain percentage of madness, your craftables create different variant craftables. I think that would be cool, and that's always the idea. How about NPC raids from Indians? Totally awesome. Love the idea. Want to do. We've talked about it in the past. I don't know when. I'd like raids, NPC raids, and I'd like dungeons. But that's like that is an end goal. Like, that's on par with alchemy right before I stop developing. Like, right before I say, okay, Salem's done. It has NPC raids that are totally functional. It has, random dungeons that appear throughout the world that you can get things with. Witchcraft is fully fledged out, and you have alchemy. That's when I just I'm all done. Like we don't need to develop anymore. It's finished. You change it to game and software development category on Steam that has more tractions. Oh, it's on art. Okay, I don't know how to change that. I have no idea what I'm doing. So if you could just tell me specifically what to do to change the stream name or the stream area to development, I will do that. For dungeons, so I'm just going to spitball the idea that I had, but I think dungeons is the biggest opportunity we have for planting lore in the game. And so I just imagine, like, you know, some Lovecraftian, burnt out, you know, a mansion in the middle of nowhere in the darkness that you stumble on that shouldn't be here, that's older than time. And you go into the basement and of this mansion, which is the only portal accessible, and basically it would be like a series of levels descending down, a la Diablo or something, where you get weirder and weirder, and it's procedure. You know, ideally it would be some level of procedural generation or randomized, you know, aspect to it, and you find, you know, little notes, little clues, little pieces that can craft like super awesome or super weird things in the game, and those get spawned in the world every season or so, similar to, you know, events that are happening right now. And once you've tapped it, it's done. But it would be more prone to, again, lore and, like, I don't know, leveling, I guess. You know, where you need to raid a mansion if you want to have a hat like this, or if you want to have this specific artifact. Dashboard on Twitch. Easiest would be to Twitch creator dashboard, and then it's on the main page. All right, hang on, guys. I'm doing things. It wants me to log in again. That's so dumb. Hang tight. Talk amongst yourselves. If you have questions, I want to save them because I'm not looking at the chat right now. Just checking my OnlyFans account. Making sure I have all of those pictures that Pistol Shrimp demanded of me. Okay, creators dashboard. Content? Video producer, maybe? Yep. Nope. That's not it. Stream manager. Yeah, there's been several raids happening this whole time. I've been getting flags off the server nonstop that there's so many wall panels being broken. A bell just broke. So, this is all according to plan. Okay, so I'm really not seeing it, and so it doesn't look the same as it did when I originally set up the art last time. It's been so long since I streamed. Settings, stream. Nope, not there. Channel. Oh, hold on. Nope, not there. God, this is stupid. Creator dashboard, stream manager. I'm in the creator dashboard. Stream manager. I'm at the stream manager. Edit stream. Where is the... Oh. Oh, it's this giant purple button that doesn't have any words next to it. Okay, got it. Cool. It's a big button of a pencil. All right. And what are we doing here? We are doing... What are we doing? What is this called? Development? Software and game development. Boom. Done. Look at that. And it still says making stuff. I just wanted tool quality to increase speed and rebalanced artifacts so people can make cool items. I want that too. I think that would be super cool to have that be more in line and more adjusted and polished. So that definitely is something that I'm going to want to look at. So, discussing the future of... How about that? Discussing the future of Salem the game. Boom. Done. Bam. Alright. How the hell do I get out of here? Go back. God, I'm old. I'm old and I have no idea what any of this does. Alright, so... Okay, that was fun. Yeah, I said that I would show you guys a trial by fire, so I can try to build that. I will try to do that actually later on. And let me check on the Discord to see some questions there. So, Samir says, so the self-damage to defense is basically redundant and useless as the crit chance is already so low and the ammo cost increased. It's basically just adds another obscure layer to the whole thing that is not obvious. Maybe? I don't know, it makes a big boom sound, so I think that could be easily connected with some level of damage, not to mention the overlay, the red overlay that appears on damage. But, that said, it is not as functional, like you are going to run out of ammo before your turret breaks. Every time. Guaranteed. So it is more of a long-term demand of cost from the defender so that you can't be a passive little player if you're getting raided. Which is, again, it is the way it should be. You should not just be able to allow your defenses to speak for you. The raider should have a chance to get in. And yeah. Is client internationalization planned once Salem is done being developed? I don't know what that means. I don't know what you mean by client internationalization. Would we be able to take raiders as prisoners if they fail? I wish. I remember when, was it Clash of Kings? Whatever the game was that you could hide a shiv up your butt just in case. That game... you could take prisoners in, and I had so much fun taking prisoners. I think it would definitely add a huge, like, I don't know, bad element to the game in a lot of ways, especially given that we're in colonial times. But more importantly, the cost of a Salem character far outweighs that of that game. Reign of Kings was the game. But... yeah, I think that's too big. It's too big of an ask. It's too much, it's too unfair. It's too unbalanced. Witchcraft. Oh, there it is. A man or a woman after my own heart. It is going to get reworks and upgrades. Not yet. It is... growing ever shorter on my list of things to do. Horses were paramount. The current version of Witchcraft that's in the game functions, but I don't share the philosophy that we had back in the day when we wanted Witchcraft to just basically be griefing. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's fun. I think that there needs to be something else. And so, MSYBAEB says Witchcraft is useless with a lack of players. 100%. It is a griefing mechanic, and if you don't have the player base to play with, Witchcraft is useless. It doesn't provide anything, and so I think I want to direct it away from there being a requirement of player base and more towards its own self-contained system, um, which lends to, I guess we could talk about the roadmap and where we've gotten with it as kind of a springboard so that we can narrow that down. Because these were my goals. Some of you who have, especially those of you who have been part of the community for a minute, remember me posting this sometime earlier in the year as my roadmap of where I wanted to be. So I will tell you, horses they're pretty much done. Like, even if I launch them now, that basically just got rid of the idea of the horse, the wild horses and all that. I could totally see them into the game and they'd be ready. So that's done. Ancestral Shrine, we haven't talked about that yet. I'll come back to that. Rework of town permissions is done, and that actually got launched onto Providence. So the things on Providence, just to recap, the plan was for it to be more conducive to have players play together. Everything about this town system before sucked. It allowed people to basically break towns, and you couldn't prevent it in a reasonable way, despite being the mayor of the town. Now you have way more control. If you haven't played in a while, I redefined a lot of how crimes work and specific crimes and what crimes could be allowed, and I made a lot of them more toggleable. And so you now need toggles for so many things, and so you can provide different levels of access or administration or whatever to different players. So there really is not a good reason not to play together as long as you're willing to play in a town. Even if you don't 110% trust the person, which is not the way it was before. But that is always the way that Salem was intended to be. It was supposed to be play together, not alone. The advantage is together, not alone. If you want to play alone, you're totally welcome to do that. But playing together was supposed to be next level play, and I think that the changes we made allows that. So if you guys want, when we get closer, I'll create a new channel for the Discord so you can get like your groups together to play together, because groups that play together early server are going to have just so much of an advantage. So the new server, yeah, all of this ended up being the new server, of course. But the new server, New Haven, it looks like we have 2 new biomes that was discussed. That is what exists. That is what we did. I have made 2 new biomes, and that is pretty much done. We have 3 new critters. I have 4, but the 4th isn't done, so I at least have 3. I have 3 new animals, so I did that. Revamped cravings. I didn't, and I posted about this in Dev Thoughts. Cravings were threatening to destroy me. Gluttony was threatening to destroy me. I almost started drinking heavily. It was bad, but I came to Jesus. I thought about what I really wanted it to be like and how I wanted it to play out and how we could potentially make the system that we have better. And so I instead revamped gluttony. And so gluttony is recognizable, but it is very, very different from what it was before. And more is all of this. So I did almost all of this. Then there's the Ancestral Shrine. So the idea here was, again, for those of you who have played Salem, which I'm guessing is most of you, JC added the inheritance mechanic as a way of making death suck less. But unfortunately, as with a lot of things that Salem has, it was super, super labor intensive. Unless you wanted to buy the Last Will and Testament, but that only counted toward your humors. So the way that it works currently is based on whether or not you committed suicide, based on whether or not you have a scalp afterwards, based on whether or not you, or when specifically you used the Undertaker's ability in town to record your humors. Based on all these factors, you would get some level of percentage return of your humors. Flat rate upon inheriting. And so that wasn't great. I don't think. I think that was super discouraging. That players didn't didn't like that. I get the wanting to monetize it. I was on board with it then, obviously, but instead, I don't think that was a good standalone. And so then he added the burying the bodies and being able to worship. I'm sorry, not worship, but pray at their headstone or pray in their crypt and offer them flowers for a specific return of, I think it's 10% on one humor at a time, once per 24 hours. I don't know. I'm probably misremembering some of this, but even that's a lot and dumb. Like, oh, by the way, you just lost your character. Now I need you to have one of every single flower. You're not going to be brought back even remotely close to where you were at before, with your humors. But I need you to have one of every single flower, and it's going to take you, what, 9 times 90? It's going to take you, what, 4 months of praying once a day to get all of your... I'm probably not doing the math right. No, it would be way faster than that. It would be 10, and there's 10. So, no, it would be like 100 days. I don't know. One of you guys can check me. But it would take a long time to get back all of your skills. Not skills, your proficiencies. So instead... Okay, so X Now X says, how about any flower and involve purity? Okay, I hear you, but what if you didn't need to do that at all? And instead, everything was percentile based on a daily quest that you had to do in town, and it took you 60 days. That's it. And that's what the Ancestral Shrine's concept was that instead of a gravestone or instead of any of that stuff, you would have an object that you could worship. You wouldn't even need the body. And you would be able to get a return based on the randomized quest that the Ancestral Shrine would send for you, where you had to provide items. And so the way that it works now is it's no longer an Ancestral Shrine. It's a priest in town. And you go to the priest, and he will give you 1 out of 6 random themed quests. And each quest is going to ask you for a random item related to that theme. So if it's fishing, it's going to ask you for a hook or a rod or a fish, or a split type of fish, or a fish dish, something like that. If it is mining, it's going to ask you for something in the mining vein, or the metals and so on. And if you bring that item back to him, you get back like 2% as a flat rate of whatever your both proficiencies and humors were before. And you'll automatically come back with a certain percentage as well. Like, you'll automatically come back with 10 or 20% of whatever your total was prior. And then, the higher you were, so let's say you were a Titan. Instead of just one item, it's going to be more, scaled based on what your total scalp score was. So if you had a huge scalp score, it's going to cost you more to regain those points than it would somebody who's just trying to get back to, 300 a wall. So that is it. That is the Ancestral Shrine, or what was the Ancestral Shrine and is now Pastor Paul, and it is it's done and it works. So that is going to be a thing for New Haven. The things that are left over that I'm still working on, this is a stretch goal, the Hide Behind. We've had that asset for way too long and something needs to be done. And then I'm actively working currently on the Cash Shop overhaul, which we've talked about on the Discord of what do you guys want, what would be better, what don't you like, and I've listened, I've heard you. Unfortunately, the community seems split between people who like the ability to use the Cash Shop for in-game advancement, and then there's people who don't like that. And the split is that the people who pay the most toward Salem like the game advancement. The people who are most willing to invest in the game like the in-game advancement. The people who invest the least into the game prefer there not to be that advantage. Oftentimes people who
have not spent anything on the cash shop, or they spend less for aesthetics. So I've decided to try to push the cash shop towards aesthetics. Aesthetics only. I'll probably still have silver on there. The advantage that silver gives is insignificant compared to the tools and the object packs, but I'm probably going to leave silver and try to put more towards clothes and pets and things like that, skins for objects as opposed to actual things that people would consider pay to win. That is not a thing yet, but it is deeply in the works. Jumping over to check on questions. People asked about are alts still going to be a thing? Yes, alts are still going to be a thing. Have not cracked that code yet. Do not know how to stop that. I've considered various ideas. Every idea you people present to me, I consider, and nobody, and myself included, has yet to come up with a good solution for alts in the current version of what Salem is. Dogs, we actually did consider, Mazvault asked about dogs as opposed to braziers or turrets. That was a planned thing. So I don't know how JC was planning on doing it, but he even had the hound dog model ready to go. And so the idea at the time, and we're kind of like getting off into a tangent, but the idea at the time was to actually link that to a program that would text you, or that would activate on your phone. It would be linked to an app on your phone, and it would alert you. The hound dog would alert you when you're being raided. And he claimed that was totally possible. That is well beyond me, and it's something that's not even remotely in my radar, but that's something. Let's see, the Ancestral Shrine paying returning a certain percent. Are you checking the difference between the current and the Ancestors' proficiencies and humors, or how are you capping this? The Ancestor. The Ancestors' proficiencies and humors is what it's using, and that's what it uses as a return, and once it reaches that, it stops. It's connected. It's connected by how many times you can use the successfully return to the priest. And once you've done that many times, you can no longer use the priest, and so it stops. So if you level up in the meantime, and you would level up beyond the level, it stops as well. So you can't abuse the priest. Shouldn't be able to abuse the priest. I don't know. You people are probably going to find bugs that I've never even considered. But in my testing, you shouldn't be able to abuse the priest. All right, I'm just looking. I'm reading your guys' questions, making sure I touch on things. All right. Okay. So that's the cash shop. Hide behind, I have ideas for, but there's no way I'm going to tell you guys about those. Those are something you're going to just, like, the first brave adventure out into the wilderness is going to have to figure out what's going on with hide behinds if they do get released. But I will tell you. I will tell you whether or not they are in the game so that you have a reason to go and try to find them. A lot of things that I would like to do for the darkness, but they will not be on release of the server. So let me go back to my notes and see what else I wanted to cover for you guys. Rating changes, touched on a lot of that. It benefits pretty much everybody and makes the game better. Oh, early game quality of life changes. So the biggest one that I can think of, and somebody can chime in because I have had testers testing stuff, and so if I forget, I apologize. But the biggest thing that I can consider is that I created a early game version of Iron. I didn't like that Iron early game was seeded with silver in town. I think that was bad game design, and I think that it was a placeholder by Jorben Loftar originally. Or they really might have wanted to push the store. I have no idea, but it just does not resound well as anything other than a cash grab. So it wasn't working anyways. As that, it was just more frustrating that people had to go through the process of before JC there wasn't even the early version of the pickaxe, so mining was like gated behind. You got to get this much silver, and then you got to buy that, and you got to buy your first bars, you got to buy your nails, and it was dumb. I think it was a placeholder too, but I wouldn't be surprised if Paradox wanted to at the time really try to push the shop and wanted to try to get people to purchase silver with real world money. But that was a different time. So instead now I don't know. I might keep iron on this, or yeah, iron stuff on the stalls. I haven't decided. But you can now find and smelt bog iron, which is an ore that is used to create a less effective iron bar that helps you manage until you can get that mine. And the bog iron can be found in swamps and one of the new biomes, deep swamps. There is a new smelter that you can make. It's called a wilderness smelter. You can smelt 4 pieces of bog iron ore at a time, and then you break it apart like a beescup, like a beehive, and it then has 1 to 2 bars inside of it, and you can use those as your first bars that lets you begin that tract of the game instead of all that not cash shop, but shop silver purchasing nonsense. I still, again though, may keep it up on the stalls as an option, but it should not be the go-to. Anybody who's willing to actually like play and not just farm silver, wilderness smelter is not that hard to do. Yeah, it was totally moo. Totally moo. Let's see here. That was the wilderness smelter. I can't think of any other beginning game stuff. I'm probably just drawing a blank. There's a lot of little things that I've adjusted and tweaked throughout this. Like pretty much every single recipe. Every single food recipe has changed. Every single food, the values of it has changed. There are new ways to get vegetables. Yes, thank you. Because I didn't want to seed things on the on the stalls anymore, I instead have created, for most of them, wild variants. So you can go out into the world and you can find wild carrots, and they work as a carrot, just like a way less effective carrot. And then you can plant it and you can get your real carrot. Same thing with onions. So basically very similar to how New World gourds transform into bell peppers. So I wanted to basically take that and run with it because it's such a clean mechanic. Tinamernov says, Marp, so will there be players who can eat 300,000 points at a time on a new server? I don't know. I don't think so. But I don't know. There is a stronger limit in the new gluttony system that leaves it as less of an open-ended pursuit, but it can be pushed. The limits can be pushed of gluttony through artificing. So I don't know what that number is, though. I don't have even a hypothetical idea of what the maximum gluttony score you could possibly get is. Torso Tiger says, will there be a post somewhere with all the little details for reading? Absolutely, but not yet, because I'm not done. But I will post the full patch notes probably a week before server launch to give everybody an idea of the changes. It won't itemize the food changes. It won't tell you what the new rates of all the foods are or any of that stuff, but it will tell you everything, generally speaking, that I've changed. I have a text document that's in front of me right now that I'm looking through that is 150 plus lines of changes. That kind of goes into it a little bit of detail, or at least enough detail to give you guys an idea. XNowX says, add more craftable stuff, e.g. from copper to sell in stalls for newbie money. So that is its own idea. I don't know if I'll get that far. It might be an idea that gets added later, and again, I do have ideas for post-server launch. I want to create dynamic stalls that are in multiple locations, so you have not just one Boston, but maybe 2 Bostons, or one Boston and 4 trade depots that have no teleportation. and then you can sell things for different rates at different trade depots, and that changes maybe like once a week to pull from a whole new list of stuff. So that will it include, variable things you can make from copper, iron, different industries besides just like cotton, because that's the way that should be. Not necessarily should be, but you should be able to make silver with any industry or most industries, and that's not the way that it is right now. Why horses can't looks the same as they did before, Missy Baby says. The reason why is because that file... did it get lost? No, it didn't get lost. I take that back. I thought that file got lost. I actually have that file, but JC changed it originally from the rental horse, because the rental stall horse was not the real horse that was ever intended for the game. That was the Headless Horseman's horse, which was a mob that never got added to Salem. Like so many of the best mobs never actually got added. And so he made the starting changes of changing the horse to the new models of the horses that we have now, and I basically finished what he started. I used those models because they look better, less weird, but I do still have that horse, and I think that using that horse and a few others could be cool cash shop skins. Maybe you want to ride around on a unicorn, or a horse that looks like it's flying, or a robot horse, or any other number of things, and all of that would be possible with cash shop skins. Saddles and horse blankets, loose wing. Yes, you remember making those perhaps or drawing them. I don't know how I want to unroll that. It is a thing. It's built into the system. It's built into the models to have horse blankets and saddles, but it was like one extra level of stuff, and Salem already has so many extra levels of stuff that I figured it might just be a little bit too much for launch, and so it's something that I would look at adding and tweaking and modifying post-launch. But it would be a cool thing to be able to put on. Hey, that's my blue horse blanket. I know that's my horse because it's got the blue one. Will more stuff be? Azagoth says, will more stuff be able to be stored in stock bins, or will there be a large storage item for things that can't be stored in stock bins? Oh, Azagoth, no. I would sooner be willing to increase, with reason, the stock bins. So if you want to increase the stock bins, like, I'll do that. You guys you've defeated me. I'm defeated. I'll increase the stock bins to something that is remotely reasonable, and if there's something that you want to stock that doesn't have a stock bin, I gotta make it. Otherwise you could put too many bad things into a stock bin, like a garbage stock bin, or have like a chest of infinite space. Like, in theory, could I do that? Yes, I could. Would it be good? No, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good from a gameplay standpoint. It wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good for the economy. It wouldn't be good. I know that is something that some people want, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to create an infinite storage device for everything. I would sooner make more stock bins. When you guys have presented me with good ideas for stock bins, I've almost always done it unless I have a good reason not to. And I'm not going to make a poop stock bin. And I've provided good reasons why I don't want to do that because of the that anti-claim thing, that thing with a copper bell that ruins people's days. Any plans to expand darkness and or monsters? Skulunka00. Yes. Not before launch, except for the hide behind. That's like my dipping my toe into the darkness world. But yes, totally. Let's see here. Horse race track in New Boston. That sounds like a good idea. That sounds necessary. As of right now, I wasn't sure of whether or not I would have that be a thing, but that actually sounds really cool. I would just worry about people losing their horses. Honestly, that would suck. So right now, horses can't go on to town claims for that reason, but or like, a town claim you're not invited to, but it's something that would be really neat to have a horse race track. Can we stock cabbages in stock bins? Sure, I don't care. Isn't it normal to have rotten meat? Mazavald asks. Yes, but I don't think you want me to ruin your day like that. Okay. Will the new gluttony system remove the concept of chance-based food satiation? Yes. Yes, it will. That will be gone. 100% gone. Hasa kebab. I've nuked that. Will all fruits and vegetables be available in the wild, or just the wild carrots and onions that you mentioned? I think right now it's just the carrots and the onions. I have to add a version of radishes, and I don't know how. I was gonna, because, there's a part of me that likes the realism, and radishes are not native to North America. So instead, what I want to do is create a new thing that seeds them. So, in some form, the answer is yes. In some form, all of the fruits and vegetables will be available somehow. My thought is an event, a more common event, but I'm thinking of an event like that happens on the beach where things get washed ashore. Yeah, the RNG for gluttony, I could go on. I could go on, and I'll probably host another stream maybe as we get closer to tell you exactly what happened with gluttony and to show you for instances. And I'm going to try to get streamers to play, and I'm going to try to get people to make videos, and in those videos they can go into detail about all that has changed in gluttony. But in the meantime, yes, it is far less RNG based. When is Providence getting nuked, and why not? That is a very complicated answer, but basically, it doesn't need to be. Providence doesn't need to be nuked. There are people who still enjoy it for what it is, and it is definitely more complicated, but it's basically the middle ground. It is the middle ground solution to keep Providence just as it is and move forward. And it doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't bother me. People have asked whether or not I think it's going to split the community. Yes, obviously, but I think that a new server is going to far outweigh the people who stick around on Providence. That's just my personal opinion, but I would bet that that's going to be the case. Providence is a mess, but we love it. Let's see here. How will you get the other fruits and vegetables? Yeah, it'll be like an event. It'll be let's say a box washes ashore, a crate, and it'll be in the box. Cool. Okay, moving forward. The other things I wanted to mention, quality of life changes. Okay. I talked about what I want to expand on, and things that I want to add specifically to New Haven. I can try to show you how the trial by fire works for those of you interested. Uncle Dolan Duck asked about there being a yearly reset. I'm not going to set a timeline for resets. I think that's kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit with a game like this, but I would like it to be able to be resettable. So reasonably, we should all anticipate it going into New Haven, that at some point it's going to reset, and when that comes, it's going to be bittersweet, but it's going to be necessary, because there are going to be changes that I want to make, and I fully intend to make, that won't be possible without a reset. And there's going to be, right now, Samir typing furiously on the Discord about why that's dumb, I'm dumb, and also it's dumb because I'm dumb. But it would just be easier at the end of the day to allow resets until the game is in a position where it doesn't need it anymore. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm going to try real quick then to, if I move this screen, will it ruin everything? Okay. I might not be able to 100% pay attention to chat, so I apologize, but I'm going to try to make you the trial by fire so you can see how it works. Which is, it is pretty cool. I need to get my mini map here. Indeed. So Mazavolt says that he has 4 resets, but he wants to keep purchase items. That is a flaw. The lack of being able to keep purchase items is a flaw that is inherent. I'm not going to do it this way. I'm going to just travel. Is a flaw of how items work currently. So part of my plan for the cash shop is to prevent the items from being lost. Even by, like, you could steal them in theory, but if anybody who's familiar with Haven system will know where I'm going with this, is that you'll have access to them even if you lose them. And that will destroy the instance of them that might have been lost. So they can't be duped. And it's more of a, again, it's an aesthetic concept. No more items that, give you advantage. And instead it's just costumes. Okay, let's hop over here. Don't want to renounce my mayorship, but we need to put some money in our bell. Oh, look at that, 8,000 silver. That'll do. I never said resets are not an easy solution. That is true. That is true. You've never acknowledged that it is the lazy solution, the easy, lazy solution. I take that back. Samir acknowledges that it is indeed the easy, lazy solution. But I know that there could be other ways of doing it. But that's just at the state that the game is in. It is reasonable. Checking on questions. Trying. Isn't Bolivar's walled off? And doesn't he own like 90% of? Oh no, you're giving Heffernan way too much credit. Are mine staying the same? Nos Firebird. What a good question. Unfortunately, yes. I wanted to change them. I wanted to change them specifically for the server, but it didn't get done. And that is one of the things that it's going to require, that I anticipate is going to end up requiring a reset, is changing how mines work. So mines will be functionally untouched for New Haven, at least to start with. Alright, so let me build a trial by fire right here. And we will, we'll face it that way. And, oh yeah, it only costs 1 nail because I was testing. So, good thing we did this, otherwise that would have been a really cheap way to screw with people. Oh, don't mind this. So this is me testing the costume system, which is really, it's too soon for me to show you, but basically it was to make another slot that would overlay the existing slot with a new type of the existing clothing. So bottom line, this is a part of the new cash shop overhaul. Okay, so as you can see, it starts burning, which I completely didn't even mention. But so the trial by fire starts on fire, and you can check the trial by right-clicking check trial, and it says that let's go to system. So it says the stake will become active and dousable in 20 hours. So upon building it, you have 20 hours, and if you'll notice, the shadow, the TBF area is both in front of and behind now. So it is behind as far as it is in front. So the idea behind this was to try to put a stop to donut towns, where you now won't be able to just hide your bell over here. You're going to need to realize that your donut town, probably, unless you make it gigantic, is going to be just as susceptible to being engaged by the enemy as their town is going to be. So I don't know how this is going to end up playing out, but I think it was a good change. So it says dousable. That is now how you damage these things. So you don't damage it in the traditional way of, like, you break it, or it's not like you throw a bucket of water on it, you need 10 buckets of water to destroy it. Instead, for every I believe it is every hour that it is doused, it gets dealt 20% damage or 10% damage or something like that. So the idea behind this is that you no longer, first of all, you don't need to guard your TBF for the first 20 hours. You can go to bed. You can live your life. You got to come back. You got to somewhat protect it because that's when the raid starts, the raid that you just created, right? That makes sense. And then in the meantime, after the first 20 hours, a defender can come by here and they can douse it with a bucket of water, which puts it out. So I think I have enough. God. I don't remember the rate that it consumes right off the bat. So let's see here. 259, 200. Nope. 10, 800. Okay, so the cost is 40 silver, basically. So 40 silver per hour. And then I've just fast forwarded 1 hour, so now it's 19 hours. So we're going to fast forward it. 259, 200 is a day. But, oh god, I don't remember the math of how much silver that's going to be and if that's going to drain my bell. So I'm just going to do 200. Alright, so that leaves my bell with something in it still. And I'll put more money in it. Apologize if I'm not explaining this enough for the people who are not familiar with the systems. Alright, so if we check the trial, it is dousable in 30 minutes. So we're going to fast forward this by 10,800, which is 1 hour. And we check the trial. This stake is active and can be doused. So this stake right now is working. I can commit vandalism on towns. I can do all sorts of ne'er-do-well things. And if I create for myself a bucket and I give myself some water in that bucket, I douse, makes the sound effect, and boom, look at that. The fire goes out. So I think if I check it, so it still says it's active and can be doused, which I could change that. But if we fast forward an hour and we inspect, oh, I hope that doesn't crash anything. Good. So it now has 333 out of 4,000 HP. So it has been hurt. And if I fast forwarded it, let's say another hour, and another hour, and another hour, another hour, note that it still is active. It is still totally working, and it is still totally draining silver out of the bell. But now, obviously, you see that it is becoming more and more damaged. It's at 1665 out of 4,000 HP. So we're at, I don't know what that comes out to, about 33%. So I think it's 10% per hour, roughly, maybe less. And I'm going to fill my bell up again. And to repair one of these things, right now it costs an arcane amethyst. So, and again, for those of you who don't know, arcane amethyst is an expensive item, and so I want it to be an expensive thing to repair. If you don't protect, as a raider, if you don't protect your trial by fire, you're responsible. That's your responsibility. So protect it. Try not to let it get doused. Worst case scenario, it does get doused. As long as it's not doused for more than an hour, you're fine. You just got to relight it. Okay, let me look at questions real quick. Samir says, Mark, what prevents people from just removing their own trial by fire and making just another one right away and starting at the low cost again? So it won't, first of all, you can't remove it for the first 20 hours. It doesn't matter who you are. Unless you're me and you have the god powers, it can't be removed. So that's number one, and it costs for that time that it was up, the aggressor. So it is only a cost to them. But I'm guessing that you're asking this about locking down lean-tos, maybe. And so in that regard, again, I've made it attackable. I've made it something that you can go get. I've made it so that it can't necessarily be defended as easily by a donut. I considered, unfortunately there's not a good way to do this, but I considered making it so that a town or a lean-to that's on a town can't be affected again by a TBF for X amount of time, but it just got nasty. and it also wouldn't functionally apply to. It couldn't reasonably apply to lean-tos that weren't on town claims when I looked at it. So, anyways, if this gets abused, I don't see why it would be. The cost is more than what it was before, so I don't see this getting abused to just lock down lean-tos. But in the event that it did, and somebody was okay holding that cost, and the defender really couldn't or wasn't willing to bust into the base to douse the trial by fire, then in theory I can look at other ways of stopping the abuse. But it's kind of like a few and far between scenario. And again, the expansion of the area of the TBF makes it much more likely, I think, that players will be able to get in here and to mess with stuff. I'd even be willing to make water balloons, like a thrown dousing objects. I don't want to do that. I don't think it's necessary, but if raiders prove to me, or if griefers prove to me that that's necessary, I'm more than happy to make changes. Costs more to build new ones, right? Yes, it costs more to build new ones. I think I increased the cost. I might have decreased the cost. I don't know. Hang on, let me check the code real quick. Because right now, like I said, it's just set to like costing nails. Okay, so I think I actually decreased the cost of this because it was just out of whack, I thought. So I set it to nails, 9 oiled board, 20 dry board, and 30 blocks and 10 hay. So I think that's actually a reduction by like 20%. But it costs more silver. It starts at 40 silver, and the longer that it's up, after the first 3 days, if you can't do what you needed to do, first 2 days after activation. So if you can't do what you intended to do, the costs start to increase by 2 silver for every hour. And so what ends up happening is that on the last day of the original, in the very beginning, I said that it was like a 7-day roughly estimated time. It's like 6,000 to 10,000 silver just for that 1 day alone because of how the increase works. So on the part of the aggressor to have the trial by fire. So I think that this is going to end up being the solution. It is going to cost the aggressor too much silver to maintain griefing. Unless, like Samir pointed out, they just are in this constant state of just building and destroying and building and destroying, but you don't get anything out of it. So you're going to constantly need to be spending the boards, constantly be spending the materials, constantly be hanging out there, and the defender during that time is going to be, we have to imagine, won't be able to reach it or is unwilling to reach it for whatever reason. So we will revisit that. I'm more than happy to revisit it. Initial silver cost is, that's a good question. Give me one moment. There is a number for that. I think that was also one of the things I did to discourage that kind of behavior, actually. I think it costs like 3,000 right off the gate. 2. So as soon as you build the thing, it costs 2,000 silver just to build it. Just to put it up right out of your bell. Sucks it right out of your bell. And then from there, it's 40 every hour. So Mazavolt asks about a smuggler's market. So that is the kind of the idea that I had for New Haven, where there'd be trading depots, and ideally I would have them change their stock, like so that this week Smuggler Market A is buying leather at just great prices, and so you're going to want to either do something weird like have your alt. I'm sure you're going to have teleportation alts at all of these places, so I'm going to have to figure out how to get around that. But this was the idea behind horses. I wanted you guys to travel to these places by horse to go sell. And anyway, so you travel somehow to Smuggler Market A, and you dump all your leather for like 3 times what it's normally worth, or 2 times what it's normally worth, or 1.5 times what it's normally worth. And that product changes. Both the 1.5 changes and the whatever's buying hot that day changes. You can build another and destroy the old one, so the new one will have a lower cost and the old one will be destroyed. You can build another. So if you build another, it's going to cost you another 2,000 right out the gate, and you can't destroy the old one until 20 hours has passed. So that will cost you another 40 times 20 silver. And then if you want to build that other one after you destroy the other one, which will take actually another 10 hours, I think, by the math of how long it gets destroyed. So yeah, if you're willing to make those silver investments, you can just build another and destroy the old one. Oh yeah, for sure. If you want to do that, if you want to extend the time and destroy it beforehand, yes, that is an option. Unless you forget. But yeah, because otherwise, if you don't, if you just leave it, it will drain your bell. It will 100%. Like you'll have no silver left. So the expectation, though, is that if you do want to re-up, you can do that. It would be strategic. It would have to be strategically done, but it's just another layer of trying to discourage raids lasting longer than they need to. So the cost has been increased no matter what way you look at it. But yes, you could totally break out early. I had an idea to limit the amount of TBFs that a bell can allow to be produced in a period of time. But again, it got fuzzy. But that's totally a solution. I could double down and look into doing that and just basically, but then all you need to do is have another bell. You have to have another backup town, right, to be able to produce this thing. So you're chasing, I as the developer am chasing this constantly moving target of how many backup towns then a raider has or would want to have in order to keep the price of their raid as low as possible. And I think that what we've already done is make that untenable. I think that even doing that, even lasting for more than that, using the lowest number, is probably worth so much more just by cost of keeping it up than what is inside the town, depending on what the town is. Marp, will you upload full stream on YouTube? Sure, Bionin. I will do it or someone else will do it. It's recording right now, so that'll all be on YouTube for you to look at. I think you guys can clip things. I turn stuff on I didn't know I could turn on, so new meta will be build TBF, build another one after 6 days, wait for its activation, and destroy the old one. Sure, yeah, if you want to do that, I don't think that's going to be the new meta, for the cost of waiting that long, but, yeah, I think that is not going to be reasonable. I think it's going to be more like 3 days. I think, if anything, you're going to build one, and then, like, every 3 days have them on cycle to be as cheap as possible, but even that cheap cost is going to be worth more probably after 2 of them than what the town is worth. So by all means, if a raider wants to grief somebody, this does not stop them, and it does not stop them from spending silver to do it. I don't know that that's the new meta though. I think that would be horribly inefficient just with using silver. Which answers another question. What's going to go on with law and lore? Nothing. I'm not going to do anything with law and lore yet, but it's definitely not going to be what it was. So, with that said, I'm going to keep answering questions, and I'm going to decorate Providence, and if you guys want to see anything else, I can show it to you. We can talk about it, but I'm going to decorate Providence for Christmas. Fine in the window. There it is. Okay. Oh, look, everyone's here, ready to punch me. Oh, I guess now would be a good time as any to tell you when I was planning on releasing. Oh, no, there's another question. Nasinder asks, any ideas about more endgame stuff? New walls, new buildings, new mine levels, or maybe new weapons, or making quality more important? Absolutely. Absolutely. I do have ideas for that. Endgame stuff I mentioned in the beginning of the thread, but I want to make dungeons a thing. I'd love to make NPC raids a thing. Walls, probably not. You guys have enough passive defenses to last you a long, long time. Oh, they're all clapping. They're all clapping. Let me just get out an emote and clap along. Any ideas? So let me just the new buildings for sure. Yes, of course. We always need new buildings, new content. New mine levels, probably not. New ore, yes. New mine levels, I don't like the way that mines are right now, so mines would get an overhaul, but that's not endgame content. New weapons, sure. PvP just needs to be done differently. Like there needs to be a better complement. Like the weapons and attacks and abilities don't complement each other. Like I don't think there was a lot of consideration to balancing, so that needs to be rebalanced and rethought. So that goes along with weapons. And quality more important. Yes, I would really like to increase quality beyond 100. I would really like to increase quality to 300. And I would like to make the grind of that purity more significant. So that would be end game stuff. Are you going to make... Oh, you want to improve walls. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, right now, no, that's not on the docket, but that would be cool if you could improve walls, upgrade walls, instead of just having to build new ones. Are you going to make Dream World interesting? No. Probably not. Not at least in its current rendition as the bottom of the world. I think as a dungeon concept, as something else, yes, I might be more than happy to revisit it, but it's one of the many half-baked ideas that Salem got and was never finished. So I don't see the vision of it right now, but that's not to say that I won't use it as something in the future. We can make granite walls better than brick. I don't know what that means. I don't know what granite walls would be better than brick. Max quality of 666 would be awesome. Please enable roads and signposts. That would actually be really cool, and not doable. The only problem that I would have with that is that it would allow you to build and put things down there that oughtn't to be put. So I'd be okay with putting signposts down there and creating a new level of pavement that only allows signposts. But to be able to repave over it, I'd be afraid you're going to put houses down there. And I don't have an easy way of getting down there to go police the shenanigans that are happening. Because again, half-baked system. But yeah. Okay. Good questions. Let me check Discord. Marp Tarpton, Samir says, to keep the running cost of TBF up and not enabled to just build a new TBF to decrease the cost again, you could make it so that the variable is bound to the towns affected. So yeah, I mentioned trying that in the beginning, I mentioned trying that in the beginning of talking about it, and I couldn't get it to work properly. But yes, that is an idea. That is an idea that I could consider, but it's not as easy as I would like it to be, and therefore I don't know if it'll make it before the new world drops. Okay, all right, now I can put my snow down. Not real snow, but fake snow, because if it was real snow, you'd all die. You'd all be frostbit. I think actually I do one in... There we go. Look at this. Boom. To burn out the eye sockets of everybody here. Maybe I won't even do mud this year. Maybe I'll just do melted areas. Oh, good. I think I'm going to have to turn off my sound. New Christmas capes this year. I don't know, Luce. Are you going to give me new Christmas capes this year? Oh, look at all these people. Let's take a good little screenshot of that. If you make them, I will implement them. I think that I did. We'll have to talk. I think that I did do the last bunch. All right. Bring back Christmas trees. Oh yeah, Christmas trees. I think I will deliver. I'll use the postman to deliver Christmas trees this year. But I don't think that we're going to have Santa visit this year. Unfortunately, I think Santa's going to take the year off because people didn't like it last year when their presents would just disappear. And the only way to stop us from having bad Christmases is for us to have no Christmases at all. I think that I did. I think that I delivered the over-the-shoulder capes last year inside of, like, they were a possibility for Christmas presents. Yes, trees is, yeah, for the aesthetic. There's no reason not to do that. And you can decorate the trees, and they just won't spawn presents. In hindsight, which is of course 2020, I should have just made them containers. But I know much more now than I did then. But if I had made them containers, I could just have made them spawn the presents, and that would have had them not disappear. Yes, I'm leaving it up to Vesemir and Pistol Shrimp to do Christmas this year. All right. Oh, but we need some Christmas trees in town, don't we? All right. So let's do make object spruce. Nope. R spruce. Here we go. Boom. Let's put some spruce trees in. A couple little, just to festive it up. Alright, and then let's do some Xmas tree 1, I believe. Yeah. Right there on those people. Oops, I think they're actually trapped. Alright, and then let's put another one in over here, and another one in over here and here. And then let's do some little ones, which is Xmas tree 2. Oops. Xmas tree 2. Cute. Gonna have to break out the candy cane fencing as well. I guess I can delete this and delete these little poles. Which Vesemir, I will definitely be looking into making these as mine supports, or variants of mine supports that are marble, for sure. I heard you. All right. Okay. Carrying on, I think let's do dummy candy cane wall seg. Okay. Fence seg. I have to look it up. Oh, there it is. Oh, and you people are just running around without any snow to play with. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Here you go. There you go. Apologies. Have at it. So for the new server, I'm looking at beginning early 2023. Not necessarily like January 1st, but definitely early 2023. I've got a lot of it in the works. A lot of it's totally functional. I'm giving myself that time to be able to mess with the shop, basically. The shop's the most important thing. If I can't fix the shop, I can't launch the server in a meaningful way. So, tentatively January, but definitely early 2023 will be the launch of the new server. If I don't figure out this cash shop by, I don't know, the second week of January, or sooner, I'm going to have to take a different stance. I'm probably going to just change the packs to remove the things that would be considered pay to win, and then I'll just have to launch without. Oh yeah, 2024, sorry, first half of 2024, for sure, but more like early 2024, and I'm looking at January. They do melt. They melt because it's summertime. If it was wintertime, yeah, sorry, can't lag the server out in the summertime. All right, that looks pretty good. Oh. And if there's anything in particular, by all means, that you want to see that hasn't been referenced or mentioned and isn't too much work, but goes with the theme of everything that I've been talking about, the Discord is the best way for those of you who are unaware. I look at the Discord all the time. Ideas and innovations is something I peruse constantly. I know it's been pretty quiet, but development's been pretty quiet because I've just been trying to push all of my energies towards putting things towards the new server. But again, if you do have ideas, I would love to hear them. Can you heal Hans? Is that whoever's vomiting? Is that the one in the cow cape? Oh, Hans. There you are, Hans. Oh, dear. Hans is ill. I thought that I had a way to actually heal remotely. He does have a canoe. I see that. I don't know if I can heal your sickness or just here. This might help. There you go. Now when you log back in, maybe you won't be sick anymore. Are you still sick, Hans? All right, does anybody else have any questions? Anything? Want to know? Mesvault wants to know if I'm happy. I am. I am happy. I'm happy in this moment. This is good. I enjoy working on Salem. My favorite pizza topping? If we're not including cheese, I would say mushrooms. Which really, pizza should be a thing in Salem. I think that JC became enamored with Veggials too soon. Let's see. Do I have anything else in the works? Yeah, because most of the code base is split currently. And so I don't have very many things that I can just show you here in Providence for you people to play with. Actually, I can give you something that'll break the server. Pizza and cakes. Yep, agreed. What to do? Oh, here we go. I'll give you guys. Here's a Jersey Devil. Go enjoy that. Oh, I should probably check my notes. Make sure there's actually nothing left. Yeah, no, I think that touches on it. Let me ask my marketing manager. Another sicko. Here you go. That's for you. That's your gift. Yeah, alright, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to save Gluttony discussion for the launch stream, and that will not be a stream of launch because I'm sure that one of you will find a way to crash the server, and I don't want to be on stream when that happens, of course. So instead, leading up to launch, I will give a tour of all of the features, like I said, probably around the time that I launch, not launch, but list the patch notes, so maybe a week before the new server launch. I'll host another stream and I'll talk all about Gluttony, and I will again touch on rating and any other changes that I make between now and then that is public knowledge, and then yeah, that way you guys can have an idea of what it is going into it. Like I said, I hope that there's going to be videos and or tutorials for both returning players and new players. That's kind of what I'm going to be pushing for as soon as I figure out the cash shop thing. And that's all I got. It's everything. So it looks like I actually have some more messages. Yes. People have asked several times. This is going to be uploaded. I'm going to try to upload this maybe to YouTube. will upload it, or somebody will. It looks like I know. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just trying. I'm looking through, making sure that I didn't miss any mention or questions that would have been relevant. I apologize if I did and you didn't get heard, but. Oh yeah, I guess you know what? That's what I'll do. I will finish this by showing you guys one of the new biomes, because that might be neat. Really, it's just aesthetic stuff, but not aesthetic stuff, useful stuff. But it is, you've already seen the animals. So let me get my other screen back going. Gonna get away from these sickos. Apricot, you are healed. You are healed. Alright, let's go back to OBS and we'll move this up. I don't know how the size got off. Alrighty. Okay. I have to go hide somewhere. I'm gonna hide over here in this building so people can't abuse my god character. Okay, so I will show you. The pine biome. So you've probably noticed these logs. These are from the pine biome, which is right here. So this is to show a difference between the pine biome compared to the old tile or old forest or the coniferous biome, which is what it should be called. And so here we have pine trees, obviously, new floor covering, mossy logs, and mossy boulders. And you can use moss for a couple different things. It can be used as a pavement, and it's going to be the ingredient in a couple new recipes. Pine trees are similar to spruce, functionally pretty much the same. They just have different cones. They offer more variety. They have a wider spread of their branches. And so anyways, as I was mentioning though, these mossy logs will naturally spawn new mushrooms, like you saw up here. And there are 2 new mushrooms, and they kind of fill in for where there was a deficit in the existing mushroom recipes for what gives to what. So there is harvest the shrooms, and this is the only way to get these shrooms, so it will encourage. Good God. Alright, we're just gonna have to turn the sound off. There it is. Alright, anyways. Harvest the shrooms. And anyway, so this is the only way to get those shrooms though, is that you have to be lucky enough to find a log that has them in the biome, or you have to live in the biome. And then it gives you a randomized number of shrooms based on RNG. So we've got the new shroom, the monk's pan, and we have the honey lamp. And I think that these aren't poisonous. Yep, so these are not poisonous. They're like lavender bullets. You don't have to boil them. You just eat them or use them. Pine cones. You'll recognize the old pine cone. It now drops from a pine tree as opposed to the spruce cone. Yeah, and that pretty much touches on it. I won't show you the other biome in too much depth because I should leave at least something sacred and secret. But that is where I'll leave you, and then I'll go find a horse to ride off into the sunset. My same horse from earlier. No, I'm gonna do this one. Alright, guys. Let's see, last minute. Is there discussion on Discord about the cash shop structure? Can you put Christmas lights on the big tree? So about the cash shop, yeah, there's a whole... If you go to, I think it was in general, and it was a topic in general. So if you want to weigh in there, let's see here. You'd have to look for, yeah, I don't remember where it was, but it was there. Cash. Yeah, I don't know. It's there. It might have disappeared. I don't think so. I don't know how these things work. Oh, here it is. So, make a thread for subscription model. And I think we were talking about it all in there. But you're welcome to start a new thread or post about it in Ideas and Innovations. Any ideas you have for the cash shop. Can you put Christmas lights on the big tree? I can't put Christmas lights on the big tree. That big tree has been in Salem probably since Alpha, when I think they wanted to put big trees in the darkness. And so I don't currently have its model in order to put lights on it, but wouldn't that be nice? Maybe one day. Maybe one day we'll have nice things where we can put trees or lights on the trees. Do you plan on keeping the old server along with the new one? Yeah, thank you guys for answering me there. Cool. Okay, anyways. Here I go. Riding off into the sunset. Thank you guys for watching the stream. Again, if you have questions, please join the Discord if you haven't already. Probably in about a month, month and a half, 2 months, I'm going to host another stream, and it'll be just before the release of the new server. I appreciate all you guys for helping in your various ways, especially Loose Wing and all of your art assets, Pistol Shrimp, and all of the testers. You guys have been infinitely helpful in everything that you do, but namely just, you know, guiding me and giving me ideas and then letting me bounce ideas off of you. So I can't begin to thank you enough. And especially Loftar, who probably isn't here, but Loftar is just my hero. Without Loftar, none of this would be possible. He fills in the gaps in my knowledge, abilities, experience, in like just a completely meaningful way. So feel free to share some love over Haven Way if you really appreciate what we're doing. And with that, I'm going to sign off. Oh, Asvault, yeah, message me. Whatever objects you want to donate. Whatever time, objects and time, new building. Look at that. It's like I purposely haven't mentioned it, even when asked. Anyway, all right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching.